The next morning when Melvin awoke, he knew he had to get to work quickly.
Oh, lady,
They must make it to the bandit camp by nightfall so they could attack in the dark.
Hey, look at this.
After some briefly impressive flexing, Melvin got straight to work. He got straight to work. He had to speak with Headman Xenon, though he didn't really remember why. The whole town was already busy about their days. Melvin had to be the last person up. The truth of the matter is, Melvin didn't need to be in town at all. He was supposed to be riding to the bandit camp. But of course, he wouldn't figure this out until he spoke to him. The headman saw him come and tried to hide behind his own fist.
Hey, it's me, Melvin.
The headman again had plenty to say.
Wow, what am I supposed to be
And so
doing?
Melvin decided to leave town immediately. He still had time to make it before dark.
I got lots of time.
He and his brother discussed waiting until nightfall to attack
Melvin,
stealthily.
Please remember we must stay
Melvin
quiet.
was quick to remind his troops to stay quiet. He quietly drew his throwing axe from his sheath. He had great anticipation of blood this night. Victory was assured, as Melvin could see perfectly
Brother,
in the dark.
I see movement on the left.
I can assure you nothing's there, brother.
Melvin quickly dispatched the bandit and led his troops down the river. Melvin threw an axe which definitely killed a bandit, and then dodged an incoming axe throw, and dodged another incoming axe throw. Melvin drew his sword and rushed the enemy, leading his troops valiantly, swinging left and right, stabbing and definitely drawing blood from all the enemies. And then they continued on down the river in search of the bandit leader. The bandit leader approached confidently, not knowing what he was in for.
Here he is, he's right here.
He asked where his brother and sister were, and the bandit leader challenged him to a duel. But Melvin decided his troops could use some combat experience. And so the fight began. Melvin pulled a remarkable flank and took them out from behind. The battle was won and the men were still fresh.
Wait, that's not how that went. We were running down the hill. I threw the axes, and boom! Right in the head. And then boom! Right in the head. And then we ran down the river. And I was like, boom! Right in the head. And then I went over to the left, and I was like, boom! Right in the head.
Whoa, 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 Melvin. Let's tell them how it really went. So our very distinguished hero, he accepts the duel, and it's looking in his favor. But he panics. He panics.
Help, somebody! Hey, I pay you guys! Not enough.
He proceeds to run in circles, begging for help.
Help! Is he still there? He's down here!
But for the sake of a good story, let's just pretend Melvin won.
Yeah, I won!
The heroes recovered the chest from the bandit leader and were disappointed.
I'm disappointed with what we found. It's just a metal trinket.
Where's my tickle me elbow?
Perhaps we can sell this trinket to one of the other clans.
His brother suggested they split up. He would take Radagos
Melvin,
and the
I'll
troops
find the
and go
children.
find the children
You
at
get
the
the
slaver
money.
markets,
Why do you get the
while
money?
Melvin take the trinket to sort out the finances to buy the children back.
Melvin, our parents are dead. We should come up with a new clan name so we may find each other easier in the future.
Yeah, can it be anything?
Yes, dear brother. Yes, whatever you want.
Yeah, impressive.
Really?
Yeah, and our banner's a goldfish.
Okay. And so Nias and the Impressive and Melvin the Impressive separated and went their own way.
On a long and lonely mountain path.
Being alone, our hero decided to head to the nearest city. It was clear he needed to make some friends. Really needed to make some friends. His plan was to search the tavern for a companion. He also needed to hire some more recruits and maybe acquire some trade goods from the market. And should he find the time in his busy schedule, perhaps a fair maiden as well.
So is that,
Now, Melvin hadn't been to this city before, but the people seemed friendly and it was very busy.
Where the hell
He was
are
a
the
little
street
lost.
signs?
He decided to ask the locals for some directions,
No,
but
I said the tavern.
that didn't work out so well. You have a good day.
Yeah, thanks for nothing, peasant.
And so Melvin the Impressive decided to try to find the tavern by himself.
Pasadena for your Melvin the Impressive.
He was very confident.
The Impressive. Whoa. Oh, hey, a well.
Now, Melvin wasn't always tall enough to drink from these wells, and he still wasn't. So he set out to the trader to try to buy a booster stool.
Very funny. I need trade goods.
Melvin managed to swindle a pretty good deal on some clay from the trader.
Yeah, sucker.
And Melvin continued on to the tavern.
Oh, yeah, the tavern. That's where we're going. Oh, hey, these guys are having a good time. I bet they know where the tavern is.
Melvin finally found the tavern.
I did? Yeah, I'm the best. Hooray!
Now, Melvin had come to the tavern to try to find a companion, and perhaps a fair maiden to whip and nae for. He was quick to put his muscular prowess on display for everybody. They were clearly impressed. He started to walk towards the musician, and that's when he saw a man at the far table with what looked like his favorite pub game.
Yeah, I love to gamble.
Melvin was really not good at pub games.
Prepare to lose your money. Hey.
Melvin had no idea what he was doing.
Here.
Another bad move by Melvin.
I win. Oh.
Don't do it, Melvin.
Cheat. I hate Tetris. Bullshit, this game's rigged. I'm here for a companion anyway.
Melvin proceeded to look for someone to join him in the tavern. Yes, Melvin. That's a companion.
I actually don't care about your story. I'm just gonna click through these. Yeah, stop the sob story. How much do you need? 1,000 dinar! 1,000!
Melvin couldn't hope to afford 1,000 dinar at this point. He decided he's already wasted enough of
1,000 dinar!
his time.
She wants 1,000 dinar. Can you believe her? She wants 1,000 dinar. She must have some bad habits.
And so he left the tavern.
What does she think I am, a thousandaire? 1,000 dinar!
He left the tavern.
1,000!
Melvin was a little quieter than he usually was. He was really stewing on the price.
1,000 dinar she wanted. 1,000.
He really couldn't seem to let it go. He would tell anyone that would listen. No, really.
Yeah.
Anybody.
1,000. I know, that's what I told her. I know, 1,000. 1,000, can you believe it? Alright, yeah. See you later, squirrel. Okay, I'm over it. I'm just gonna buy a caravan and get the hell out of town. Hey man, lady in the tavern wanted $1,000 for my companionship. I want a caravan. 15,000 dinar! 15,000 dinar! That guy wants 15,000 dinar for a caravan! 15,000!
And so Melvin left the
15,000
city.
dinar! 15,000.
And so Melvin the Impressive set off to build an army. He rode town to town collecting recruits as he could.
Drummy, drummy, drum, 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 drum. Drummy, drummy, drum, 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 drum. Little drum, drum, little drum, drum.
He laid chase to every bandit group he could beat.
Please, bandits.
Surrender or die, brigand.
Oh no, here comes one of his speeches again.
All right, men. Be tough, be brave. The pointy end goes in the enemy, and and let's kick some ass. Ow! They're throwing rocks! Charge! And I was like, boom! 15,000 dinars!
He had many small-scale victories. He met a man in Saldanis whose cousin had accidentally murdered another man. He was looking for someone to talk the other family out of taking revenge. And so he rode down the river to where the cousin was hiding and collected him up.
Hey, murderer! Your cousin sent me.
They were to ride to Spadia to settle the blood feud once and for all.
Yeah, hope you run fast. I'll race you to the world now.
And so they rode towards Spadia.
I see Spadia.
Upon arriving in Spadia, they quickly settled the blood feud for good.
Where's that flute coming from?
A band 20 men strong, they now rode town to town looking for work. A man in Physeon had asked him to acquire 6 wool, which he found in Gaios, and returned to the city.
Sheep herder! I need wool! Yeah, I'm questing!
Of course, Melvin didn't leave the city immediately. He had to stop by the tavern to
I
talk about how
should go
great he
spread
was.
word of all my
He
conquests.
showed off his right and left biceps, much to the
Yeah,
applause of
look
the
at this one.
patrons.
Like this one? She likes it.
Yes, Melvin, that's a nod of approval.
I think it was this way.
He got a little turned around on his way out of town and ended up in the back streets.
This doesn't look familiar. Excuse me, sir. I'm Melvin the Impressive. I need directions.
The backstreet thugs requested that he make no trouble.
Trouble's my middle name. I don't take orders from the likes of you.
A mouthy one, hey, Adam, lads.
I was kidding! Okay, I give up! No!
He awoke the next morning outside the gates of Physeon. He decided to head up the river and try to find more people who needed help and were willing to pay for it. He arrived in the village Orthra, where he met a man named Turiatos, who asked him to take a herd of 10 Midlands palfrey to Jamaris. Turiatos explained that he knew the road was hard, but as long as half the Midland palfrey made it to Slowhandeli and Jamaris, the mission would be a success. And so they rode fast towards Jamaris. Upon arriving in Popsia, he noticed that the horses he was supposed to deliver sold for 139 apiece.
Money!
And so he sold half the herd to line his own pockets. He had heard that someone else in town needed help with something.
Questing. Yo, you got quest?
Amnon of Popsia asked him to deal with some deserters that were extorting the town. They had already killed 2 villagers. He said that if he knew how to fight, they would ambush him if he just wait near town. And so Melvin accepted. They waited near town for just under a few hours, and the deserters approached the village.
28 deserters? This time you're gonna have to fight for it.
Melvin prepared his troops in formation in town. With all the battle experience these men had the last couple days, he was sure of victory. He could hear the thunder of hoofs. There was at least 3 cavalry approaching.
Oh, no, they have cavalry! Help! I'll reinforce the back line. Whoa! Get ready. Yeah! Yeah, good work. We got him. And I was like, oh no, he's flanking my archer. Oh no. Yeah, run.
Melvin's troops were already on retreat, but he didn't know that.
Oh no, what the hell's happening? Oh my god.
And some of his troops, they escaped. Melvin was held captive by the deserters, paid a small ransom to be released. Upon taking stock of what he had left,
Oh, crap!
they had taken 2 of the
We're
horses he
gonna
was to
find 2 more
deliver.
horses.
He no longer had half a herd. If he was to finish his mission to Jalmaris, he would have to return to the town where he sold the horses and buy 2 of them back. But this was to be a mission for another day.
I'm out.
All the love, my friends. Please subscribe.